Thank you so much for being with us today. Good afternoon. The focus of the workshop is to help you understand energy and water use in your homes and to learn about the systems that require this resource function. Something I want to mention before is I work with IFAS, and a lot of people has a question that is, what is extension? I want to introduce you to extension. Florida Cooperative Extension is a partnership between the University of Florida, Florida A&M University, and the local county governments across the state of Florida. As you can see, we have offices in every one of the 67 counties in Florida, and we have research centers. In these ones, we exist to bring university-based research and education directly into Florida communities, and that includes everything from agriculture to health and home efficiency. Something I want to mention, this presentation was made possible to bring to you for the REACH program. It's the Resource for Efficiency, Affordability, and Community Health. And that was a person working in this department during the manager, Leslie Jerome. That is the one that I think is here in the audience with us today. During the workshop, we want to see what we're going to be covering. We will start by building an understanding of how the energy, we're going to focus today in energy. In a couple of days, we're going to be how water actually works inside your home, not just for the use, but how that is gets used and what is asked to us for our bills. From there, we will look at the systems and habits that drive our utility use and then move into strategies that you can use to reduce waste, save money, and improve comfort. We will talk about everything from quick wins that you can try right away to larger upgrades you might plan for down the road. You guys mentioned this in the chat with the question that Patricia just asked you in the beginning. There are some things that we need to want to see. And first, we will build up the understanding that energy and in context water, how they work in our home, where they go, and how they are used. We will see as well utility bills, why they are so high, including both systems in your home and the habits that shape your usage. A big part of this is the building science, things like heat transfer, insulation, airflow, that we will keep approachable and focus on what matters to you. And finally, we will cover how to read your utility bill, not just the dollars, but the units and usage patterns that drive those costs and how you can make changes that actually work in your household. There are a number of reasons why resource efficiency matters, but I want to highlight three major areas, as you can see in the slide. First, our climate. In Florida, we already know it's hot, it's humid, and the system in our homes have the work year around to maintain a comfortable environment. That puts a real demand on air conditioner systems and building materials. Second, the population growth. Florida gains around 1,000 new residents every day. That means more homes, more appliances running, and more strain on local utilities and water systems. And finally, our homes look a lot of different than they used to. We got smart devices, like you guys start to mention, entertainment systems, always on chargers, and all of which quality add to your energy use. These three forces, climate, people, and technology, are shaping how we use energy and water and why it is important to manage and use wisely. When we think about improving efficiency at home, this refers to the question that was posed to you in the beginning of the webinar. First, you can change the home. That means we can upgrade insulation, selling that work, replacing all appliances, or installing low-flow plumbing fixtures. In other words, physical upgrades that improve performance, even if your habits stay the same. Second, you can change your habits, turning off lights, shortening showers. A lot of individuals recommend 5 minutes, adjusting thermostat settings. All of this can be made a difference without needing to spend money at front. The most powerful results often come from doing both smart upgrades paired with the smart behaviors. And we are going to see both sides of this equation here. I want to quickly talk about what this information matters to you on your personal level. First and most obvious, lower the utility bills. Now we all want to do that. And even small changes can lead to noticeable savings in our monthly expenses, especially during peak cooling season. Second, comfort and health. A well-sealed, efficient home is not just cheaper to run, it's more comfortable to live in. We will be more even temperatures, better humidity control, and fewer drafts on hot spots. And third, smarter use of resources. By understanding what's using the most energy or water in our home, we can make informed decisions and avoid wasting money on things that aren't helping. So with that in mind, let's shift gears and look at how energy actually makes move through your home. We are going to see cost energy savings. We were talking about behavior. We need to start focus in see what kind of behavior we can do, and from the point of view of psychology, to modify a behavior. Somebody knows how long it takes. Somebody can write your guess in the chat if you want to see how many days takes to modify a certain kind of behavior, or stand to learn modification of new behavior. What they are telling you, Patricia?
14 days, 3 weeks, 21 days.
21 days. Yes. From the point of psychology, yes, 21 days. Because we need to reinforce that for the brain. So in the summer, while our air conditioner is working hard to cool the air inside of our home, the forces of heat transfer are constantly trying to push heat back in. In the winter, the opposite happens. Your heating system is bringing warm inside, while that heat naturally tries to escape out. Your HVAC system uses a lot of energy to fight this constant battle. But if you the building envelope for everyone is the home. It's tighter, that means that it's completely sealed with good insulation and air sealing. Your HVAC doesn't have to work as hard. That means it runs less often, which saves energy and money. Since heating and cooling are usually the largest part of your utility bill, improving the envelope has a huge impact. So the first thing is that we need to start to see if all the windows and doors are completely sealed. Room fans. They help to circulate the air and make you feel cooler through evaporation and convection, but they don't actually lower a room's temperature. In summer, blowing air directly onto people speeds heat loss from the body, what we call the wind chill effect, so you feel cooler without touching the thermostat. In winter, reversing your ceiling fan's direction pushes warm air from the ceiling back down into the living space. Since warm air rises and cold air sinks, this helps redistribute the heat that will otherwise stay near the ceiling, reducing the temptation to crank up the thermostat. Remember to turn fans off when you leave a room. Fans cool people, no spaces. Leaving them running to cool the room wastes electricity if no one's there. Also remember to dust your fan blades. It will keep them balanced and moving efficiently, which help them draw less power. Keeping your system clean and your airflow balance is essential for both comfort and efficiency. Setting your thermostat wisely around 65 to 68 Fahrenheit in winter and 78 to 82 Fahrenheit in summer can help reduce your energy use without sacrificing comfort. Use your thermostat home and wait settings to prevent unnecessary runtime when no one's home. Outside, make sure your condenser is clear of plants or debris that can block airflow. Indoors, keep supply registers and return grills unblocked and clean. Even one closed or obstructed vent can make the system work harder and create uneven temperatures in your home. It's very recommendable that we clean that vent because this is one of the areas that fires can start as well. So we need to do that as well. We're trying to remember that frequently. Indoor air quality is closely tied to energy use because moisture and heat in the air can make your air conditioner work harder. Showers, cooking, and even daily breathing all add moisture to your home. Many bathroom and kitchen exhaust fans help by moving that air outside into the attic space. And it's not just inside, the roof system plays a role too. Sofa and ridge vents allow attic spaces to stay ventilated, but only if they are clear and obstructed. So a lot of people tend to remove those before storms, usually before June 1st. If vents are blocked by tree leaves, vegetation, or even attic insulation, the air cannot flow, and moisture and heat get trapped. That makes your home less comfortable and can raise your energy bills. Something that we need to remember, and a lot of people doesn't know, and sometimes I completely forget as well, is unplug when we don't have electrical equipment in use. Smart power strips don't power strips that they flip the switch. Be mindful of buying appliances with vampire loads. And that's something that we need to teach as well to our children. Another tip for energy savings is the refrigerator and freezer. This runs 24/7. To keep food cold or frozen, this is the third largest energy user in most of our homes. First, you guys know what is the first equipment in our home that consumes more energy? Somebody knows here? You can write that in the chat. What is the thing that consumes most energy?
The AC.
Yes, you are right. And what is the second one? Somebody by now we know that the refrigerator is the third one. What is the second one?
Water heater.
Yes, perfect. Yes. So we need to start to keeping the dusting and check that the seals are completely closed. That's something that we need to do and frequently as well because sometimes people doesn't check for leaks and this is an issue. Another thing that we need to see for cost energy savings are dryer. We were talking about this. Clothes dryers account for something about 4.8% of the household energy use, which is still a noticeable slide on your bill. They work by heating air and moving it, along with moisture through a vent to the outdoors that we already mentioned how we need to clean that vent. If the lint trap or vent is clogged, the dryer cannot push the air and moisture out effectively, meaning it has to run longer using more electricity. A couple of easy tips can make a big difference. Consider air drying clothes when possible and clean the lint trap regularly. That is the thing that we need to mention to try to avoid a fire inside of our home. Lean build up isn't just an efficiency issue, it's also a fire hazard. So we need to be very, very careful with that. Also, many newer dryers have moisture sensors that automatically stop the cycle when clothes are dry, which prevents overdrying and saves energy. A few of the new clothes dryers, the there is no law. There are in the top, sometimes close to in the top of the dryer. So the little window to remove those dents is very easy to access. Something that we need to check as well is the dishwasher. Not run the dishwasher when we have only a few appliances on it. A lot of people converse to the things of oh, we need to pre-rinse everything as much as possible, but the equipment, the modern equipment has a lot of technology and they do that. And they use as well an air dryer that is eco-friendly from the settings. And of course, the high temperature is very good for sanitation. So consider using phone loads to maximize savings. So the new equipment I already mentioned, they are very efficient than the hand washing. Something that we need to see as well is the entertainment systems like TV, receivers, gaming consoles, speakers are often overlooked energy users, even when they appear to be off. Many remain in standby mode, drawing power so they are ready to launch quickly. Turning devices completely off instead of leaving them in standby reduces that waste energy. Even the volume level of equipment unrelated to energy. Here's an example of two audio systems. The standard speakers in a TV, in a home theater system. Let's assume that the electricity cost is 20 cents per kilowatt per hour. In this example, the two standard TV speakers draw about 20 watts total and running 8 hours a day. For a month, will be used about 4.8 kilowatts, which is less than $1 in your monthly bill. But a 500 watts home theater system used for the same amount of time will use around 120 kilowatts, about $24 per month, or nearly $300 a year just for sound. Lowering your volume or avoiding the subwoofer can dramatically cut the usage. Simply settings changed on the TV can also help save energy. Make sure your TV's ambient light sensor is turned on so the brightness adjusts automatically, and use eco of standard modes instead of dynamic or high contrast modes, which use more energy. Something that we need to see to helping as well, another tip, is here are a few practical tips for saving energy with your water heater. First, set your water heater to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. This is hot enough for household needs, but prevents unnecessary energy use and lowers the risk of scalding. Taking shorter or slightly cooler showers reduces the amount of hot water your heater has to supply, which means less cold water the tank has to heat to temperature. If the hot water pipes coming from your tank are exposed, insulate them. Exposed pipes radiate heat into the air, which results in loss of water temperature. And if the water heater is in conditioned space, more heat for the HVAC systems to remove. Insulating the pipes helps keep the heat in the water instead of losing it along the way. If your water heater's tank feels warm on the outside, that means it's losing heat. Wrapping it in an insulation blanket can cut standby loss. And finally, if your heater is more than 10 years old, newer models are more efficient and could save you money over time. And something that I provide for Patricia, there are some links of tax savings in appliances. When at those, the links, she's going to be providing those to you. Windows, that's something that we need to start to sometimes close and check. It depends of the month or season that we are during the calendar year. Radiation is how heat moves in waves, even through empty space. You have probably felt it, sunlight coming through a window and warming up the room, or sitting in your car with the air conditioner on, but the sunlight hits your arm and it feels uncomfortably warm. Even if the air isn't moving, radiant heat can warm up surfaces, floor, furniture, and even your body. That's why homes often need features that help block, reflect, or absorb radiant heat before it can build up indoors. You might have your thermostat set to a comfortable temperature, but if there is a strong radiant heat, the room can still feel hot and uncomfortable. Radiation is in how heat waves move, even through empty space. You probably feel, and we see that usually when we are sitting very close to the window, and that's something that we need to check to block through the curtains and shades that we have there. Something that we need to reinforce is it depends of your location and it depends of your energy provider. Like right now in the news yesterday was that Clearwater in Tampa is considering the possibility to stop the contract they have with the Duke Energy. So it's something that you guys need to see what is the provider in the area that you live. And it depends. We have here in the screen one of the biggest provider that is Florida Power on Light. It depends of your county. You're going to see which one is going to be. If it's going to be FPL, it's going to be Duke, or if you have a different company, like in the county that I'm located, Manatee County, close to Tampa, we have as well Peace River. So those are the different providers that are in the areas. In the bill, this is an example with Florida Power Light. We are going to see, and this is digital. If you don't receive the paper bill, you can see that as well if you have an account. And something that we need to start to looking is there are three key points. Start to see your energy usage history through the year, through the month. You guys can start to see where are the peak months that we consume most energy, and we are going to see that one usually during the winter and summer. Another thing that we need to see is the meter. The meter is outside of the house. The meter rotates and calculates at that sometimes these meters are put in a test bench to see for the accuracy. And the meter is read every month that we're going to receive the bill, and they're going to see what is the usage, how many kilowatts we were used compared to the previous month. That's going to be close as well to our energy use. And we are going to see as well a comparison of this month of energy, sometimes the last month. And it depends how back in the history last year that you can have a clear history of the consumption of kilowatts that you have in a property. If you live locally, you probably have seen the Florida Power Light bill before, and it is important to understand your utility bill to see how much energy you are using and track energy usage. Our bills contain very useful information such as energy use summary, energy use comparison, and the meter summary. That is things that I advise that you start to check in and see that. This company as well has an energy dashboard. In that one, you guys can see the consumption, sometimes the change in temperature and other factors that you can see in your cycle. The cycle sometimes takes less than 1 month, and you guys can see how many days are those, and sometimes what are the change in temperature with the was more hotter. That is easier to visualize in these bills. So another thing in these bills that we have is you can personalize your online energy dashboard that gives you the power to see how much energy you are using. and discover new ways to save on your electric bills. You don't have to wait until the end of the following month to see how much you are spending on electricity. May inform energy choices to help lower your bill before you receive it. And you can even click on ways to save to get to personalized saving tips. This company as well has doing a lot of services to if you want to add add-ins to your service that you can do, but that this is extra and of course has an additional charge. We are going to see low-cost energy savings. How are we going to see those? We are going to see those in the light bulbs. They look at these three types of bulbs. There are incandescent bulbs. They create light by heating a metal filament until it glows. Most of the energy they consume becomes heat rather than light, which is why they are so inefficient and why they feel hot in the touch. Compact fluorescent lamps use an electric current to excite a gas inside the tube, which then causes a phosphor coating to glow. They are much more efficient than incandescents, but take a moment to warm up and contain a small amount of mercury, so they need proper recycling, which leads us to LED, light emitting diodes, which pass an electric current through a semiconductor, producing light directly without generating much heat. This makes them far more efficient, long-lasting, and cooler running. Switching to LEDs can dramatically reduce your electricity use for lighting, and because they produce less heat, so your AC doesn't have to work as hard in the summer. Lighting is an easy place to make a difference on your energy bill. A LED bulb produces the same amount of light as an incandescent bulb, but uses about 75 to 80% less electricity, and it can last between 15 to 25 times longer. Although LED may cost a little more upfront, the long life span and low energy consumption means they paid for themselves quickly. That's that you can see how many in brightness, how many luminance they produce, the watts they have, and you can see the CFL and the LED here in the graphic. What kind of fans we are going to buy? We are going to see buy one that is in the ceiling, or we're going to put that in a room that doesn't have it, or it's easier for us to have a floor fans. Remember, the fans is not for the cooling, the space is to cooling us, the humans. So how you feel more comfortable that the airflow is coming to you. Another thing that we are going to see in cost energy savings, there are some practical tips to saving energy with your water heater. First, I already mentioned, set your water heater to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. This is hot enough for household needs, but prevents unnecessary energy use and lowers the risk of scalding. Taking shorter of slight cooler showers reduce the amount of hot water your heater has to supply, which means less cold water the tank has to heat to temperature. Somebody knows what is the amount of minutes that supposedly needs to have a shorter shower? I mentioned that before. Somebody remember how many minutes?
5 minutes?
Yes, you are right. If the hot water pipes coming from your tank are exposed, I repeat, insulate them. Exposed pipes radiate heat into the air, and which results in loss of water temperature. And if the water heater is not conditioned space, more heat for the HVAC systems to remove. Insulating the pipes helps keep the heat in the water instead of losing it along the way. If your water heater stand feels warm on the outside, that means it's losing heat. Wrapping in an isolation blanket can cut standby loss. And finally, if your heater is more than 10 years old, newer models are more efficient and that could save you money over time. The thermostat. Look at this. You guys were talking in the beginning about technology. Yes, to the left side, you can see the thermostat, a Honeywell model, how they used to be. And to the right side, we have a digital Honeywell model that you can even use with your phone, that you can have sometimes connection through your Wi-Fi. So replace your old thermostat for a programmable thermostat is very easy as well to do, and is recommendable to trying to help you to low cost your energy savings. Windows. I already mentioned that if we are going to seal the envelope of the home, we need to see that all the windows have sealing. If no, replace them for ones they have solar screens and sometimes hurricane prevention. And it depends of your county. You can check in your county programs of weatherization. The weatherization programs sometimes are offered for the county and nonprofit organizations to see if those are available and you can qualify for them to do this improvement in your home. Because yeah, changing of the windows is expensive. We were talking about the home. In the picture, you're going to see the envelope, the house. And is the building envelope is just a term for the parts of your home that separate the inside from the outside. That means your walls, your roof, windows, doors, and foundation. If you think of your home like a cooler, the envelope is the lid and walls. It keeps the inside temperature in and the outside temperature out. When your building envelope is in a good shape, is sealed properly and insulated, your home stays more comfortable and your AC doesn't have to work as hard. When the envelope is leaky, poorly sealed, or missing insulation, that's when heat and humidity start creeping in and the energy cost goes up. Another tip is air leaks can happen in a lot of different places, both inside and outside the home. On this slide, we are focusing on the exterior of the outside of the home. Spots where leaks are most common. These include gaps around doors and windows, cracks where pipes or cables run into the house, and places where the garage connects to the home. If you can see daylight around a door frame or feel air coming through a windy day, that's infiltration at work. Sealing those gaps helps keep the outdoor air where it belongs and reduce the load of your air conditioner system. Leaks don't only happen on the outside of the house. A lot of air can sneak in from inside pathways, places that connect your living space to unconditional areas like the attic of the wall cavities. Attic hatches, pull-down stairs, and resist lighting are all common examples. Warm air from the attic can easily filter into your living space through these openings. Plumbing and wiring holes can even outlets or switch plates or exterior walls can also leak more than you might expect. Sealing these less obvious spots helps insulation work the way it's supposed to and keeps your home more comfortable. If we are talking about windows, windows are one of the most common places for air to leak in and out of the home. Air can sneak around the window's frame, especially if the caulking has cracked or pulled away. Sealing those joints with fresh cold blocks allows infiltration. It can also leak around the sash, the part that moves up and down, and even in the meeting rail, where the top and bottoms sashes meet. Gaps here are best sealed with weather stripping, which helps tighten the fit between the sash and the frame or between sashes. These leaks might seem small, but across several windows, it can feel like leaving a window crack open all year. And remember, this is a lot of consumption for us in energy. Doors are another common spot to air leakage. Air can sneak in around the door frame if the seals are worn out or missing. Even a small gap can add up to a big draft, especially if you can see they lie around the edges. The bottom of the door is another major leak point. If the threshold isn't tight, or if there is no sweep or seal outside, air can flow straight in. These leaks don't just make your home less efficient, they are often the reason you feel uncomfortable drafts when you are sitting nearby. Sealing then helps your air conditioner work less and keeps your home more comfortable. Here are some of the key areas where insulation makes the biggest difference in your home. In the attic, the target is about an arc perry, depending on the material that is about 8 to 9 inches if you are using fiberglass bats, or closer to 10 inches if you are using fiberglass rolls. That depth is what slows down the sun's heat from pushing through your ceiling. If your house has a crawl space or raised floor about R13 under the floorboards, helps keep the hot, humid air from seeping in from below. And for walls, insulation around R16 is typical. Many Florida homes don't have much wall insulation, so adding it can improve comfort and energy costs. The picture here shows different insulation types, bats blown in and spray foam, but regardless of the material, the goal is the same: to slow heat transfer and give your air conditioner less work to do. In its most basic function, air conditioner air filters help keep the dust away your evaporator coils. The indoor air travels through the return and into the air handler, passing through the filter. The filter collects the dust and allows the moist, warm air to make contact with the coils. If the dust collects on the coils, it interferes with the heat transfer of the air in the moisture collection of the coils. The result is an inefficient system. So filters are helpful to keep the coils clean, but they also need to be replaced or cleaned regularly to allow the air to pass through them. If the filters get too dirty, the air conditioner system may struggle to pull air through, resulting in longer run times and possible damage to the system. For example, it could lead to frozen evaporator coils. That means you don't going to have air conditioner working, you're going to be forced to call to maintenance company and be a few hours until the coil defreeze and they can fix the issues with that one, that you come back to have the machine works. Filters have evolved to function for help beyond cleaning coils. They now filter for the smaller particles, mites and microbes. They now filter for to do this the spaces where the air transfers have become smaller and smaller. The problem, however, is the smaller the holes, the harder the HVAC system has to work to move the same volume of air. To understand, imagine pulling air or liquid through different size drinking straws. The larger the diameter of the straw, the easier it is to pull air through it. The smaller it is, the harder you need to pull to get that same amount of air through the straw. The solution to shrinking the space where air passes through the filter and allowing enough air to pass through the pleated or accordion style air filter. This style air filter has more surface air and allows for more spaces, so those spaces can become smaller and in turn capture smaller particles. This makes them more effective at removing particles from the air. This effectiveness is measured in something that is called MERV, minimum efficiency reporting values. The higher the number, the more effective the filter is at capturing particles, the most effective air filters are HEPA, or high efficiency particulate air filters. Many filters are designed to be discarded after use, but there are also filters that can be rinsed and reused, such as green fibrous filters and electrostatic filters. Electrostatic filters work by changing the particles in the return air so that they attract and stick to the filter. In order for a filter to be effective, it not only needs to be keep clean, but also has to be the correct size of the unit. There should be no big gaps around the air filter where the air can bypass filtration. And if there are gaps, the air and particles will take the path of least resistance and bypass the filtration entirely. To correct size, the filters, you can look at the size of the old filter, usually written length in the width of the dip in the inches. For example, you might have, say, 20 by 25 by 1, meaning it's 20 inches by 25 inches on his face and has 1 inch of thickness. If you don't currently have a filter in place, you can measure the length and width of the dog with a ruler or measuring tape. The filter size may be slightly smaller than the measurement of the package. For example, instead of 20 inches, it might actually be 19.5. They should still work in your filter. Also include range for filtration capability, cost and replacement, and clean schedule. Something I want to mention as well here is fiberglass panel filters readily available generally are the cheapest type, and these are needs to be replaced every month. Less effective at removing particles for the air. The replied or accordion style is less available, range in price, but generally more expensive than flat filters. And the replacement ranges from every month to every year, depending on the style of the filter, and most better at removing particles from the air. The electrostatic filter share characteristics with pleated, except they are reusable and have low MER rating, and also has an advantage of contributing less to the waste since it's reusable. HEPA filter, hardest to find, most expensive, replacement, and this one ranges for a few months to a couple of years. The most effective at removing particles is the HEPA filter. They can remove 99.97 of these particles. And you can see here in the graphic what are those MERS values and all the ratings that they have. In summary, we have already seen that heat transfer through conduction, convection, and radiation is what drives most of your home's energy use. Your air conditioner system is constantly working to maintain temperatures and the buildup in the envelope of your home in your walls, insulation, windows, and doors. It's a passive system that can dramatically reduce the workload and is properly sealed and insulated. The top 3 energy consuming appliances in the Florida home, we already have seen the HVAC, the water heating, and refrigerators and freezers. All systems that maintain the temperature of fluids like air or water. Two of the simple high impact tips we have discussed are set to the water heater to 120 degrees and insulate pipes or grab the tank in his warm to the touch, and to keep refrigerator coils clean with 1 to 2 inches clearance, and check door gaskets for a tight seal. Don't overlook the vampire loads, electronics and appliances that draw power even when they are off. And remember, low-cost solutions like cleaning dryer lint lamps, switching to LEDs, turning off fans on empty rooms, and unplugging chargers can add to the significant savings over time. Small inexpensive steps can make a big difference without major investments. The last thing that we are going to see is we have seen as well that those are the things that we are going to see the lighting, the thermostat, change that one for a new programmable one that we can even control by the phone, the air sealing, weather stripping, the insulation, windows and shading, the water heater, and the HVAC system that we have. These low-cost upgrades make your home more comfortable, efficient, and affordable. So, Patricia, I provide you a few links that you can give to the participants, and the document that is the PDF file that is as well has energy and has as well, I'm going to put together the energy and water conservation improvements. The Rich Home Energy and Water Program makes a guide that has an evaluation program, and these are only few pages. They have these improvements that we can do at home, mainly in the area that we saw today that was energy, and the ones I'm going to be talking in a couple of days that's going to be water conservation improvements. Patricia?
Okay, so I put the links in the chat as well as a handout, and the second webinar is coming up on Thursday. Do you want to give them like a brief description of what you're going to tackle on Thursday?
We are going to be talking about water, and mainly in the water, we are going to be seeing what are the ways that we can have every kind of savings inside of the house that we can what kind of tips we can install to try to incorporate, and as well, like I mentioned before, is behavior change, things that we need to adaptate to trying to do these small savings that we can incorporate in every one household. In every county, you guys know for the drought now we have suspended irrigation in your lawns. One of the agents in the office do a very good document for storm water prevention. I can provide that for them as well, Patricia. A lot of people doesn't is not familiarized with the landscaping, what things can happen, and that's good to know as a homeowner. So that is important things that we can see. Those are the things that we are going to be touching in a couple of days. And yes, I remember that this statewide guide was made to with for IFAS for the RICH program that was installed for the University of Florida.
Okay. I got a couple of questions that came through. If you guys have other questions, you can also put them in the chat, and there's also a Q&A panel if you prefer to use the Q&A panel. First question I got was, could you repeat the information for power strips? Do you mean that they still consume energy even when you don't have anything plugged into them?
Yes, that's the reason there are combined vampires. So yes, we need to disconnect those. Yes.
Okay. I think
I including those sometimes when I put the phone connected, I leave that plug all the time. Yes, you are right.
yeah. Oh, this is interesting. I was told not to dry clothes outside in Florida because the humidity can cause mold. Is this correct, or does it depend on the type of fabric?
That depends of the type of fabric and the humidity level that we have here. And there are so many things when we are talking about mold. In clothes usually grows when there are the conditions to apply that one. You bring something very interesting. I'm going to try to do a little more research in that one because for the clothes drying is the first time I heard that. I have heard that for many things because I explain a little things about mold when when I'm teaching sustainability. But interesting point. Let me come back to you to that one. Thank you for bringing that for drying the clothes in Florida.
I think it might depend on how thick it is, because I've had like I've sometimes I put delicate shirts outside, and within 30 minutes the heat is so so strong that it's already dry.
It depends of
You're
the
doing like a
material. If you're going to
bedspread
put
or
something
something.
that is linen, of something like
Yeah,
this shirt I have that is very soft and polyester, if you're going to put a heavy, like coating, so
a
you're going to put
quilt.
the coating,
Yeah,
that one, that is completely different because all
layers.
the has inside and how the dry can goes to penetrate that one, yes, it takes longer time. And the
Yeah,
temperature, you are right. But for mold will be, wow, will be very interesting to see. I need to do a little more research in that one. Thank you for bringing that up.
yeah. I never thought of that. Yeah. If you live in an apartment, are you able to change the temperature in your water heater?
If the water heater is inside of their apartment, yes, you need to see where that is located, that you can do that change. If it's external, you need to try to find where is that outside of the apartment. But usually you're going to have access to that equipment, yes.
And here's the follow-up to that one, my question to you. Every time I travel for a long time, I've gotten used to turning off the water valves. Does that matter at all? Like my dad would tell me you have to turn off the water so that nothing happens. Is that
For
just like
security is better because if something is happening and you have that could be there are certain things, but it's like when you are snowbirds when they go and they leave the home, you is the first thing that you do. Sure,
Mhm.
when they are closing my home, that is something that if IFAS have classes as well in different counties, individuals do that. Is recommendable to do that. Is for security, it's better to do that one.
Okay. Um, are there recommendations of how often you should upgrade your water heater or AC unit?
Usually it's every 10 years. It depends of the unit. So, but it's 10, 10 years approximately when you need to do that one.
And how
But
about
are
for
you going to see that as well? It depends of the unit because a couple of individuals have sometimes called and they have a unit running and it's 14, 15 years old, but they have very good maintenance. They have keep with the maintenance twice per year and the unit's still running.
and how about those? This is my question to you. How about like a washer and dryer? Is that also like every 5 or 10 years?
That in that one, if it's a lot of people that do that one when it's broken down or when you're going to find a piece that is very expensive to repair and it's cheaper to buy a new appliance. And sometimes when they apply with the tax savings incentives for the
Mm-hmm.
county,
Mm-hmm.
it's very good to take advantage of that. So
Okay.
it's your preference because a lot of people they want to see efficiency and they want to see the different the new machines allow you to have wrinkle free. There are a few things that there are better for you as a consumer, as a user. Say, I prefer this. Is the preference of the owner. That is the preference of the owner.
Would you recommend a tankless water heater?
That is as well as the preference of the individual. If the space, if for your preference you want to do it, yes, and there are many savings that you can use. So in Japan, the new technology that we have seen that are coming in this area from Japan, sometimes, my God, blew your mind. The things they are doing in this kind of equipment is very interesting.
And you've mentioned a couple of times like savings and things like that. Is there like a one government office that you go to find if you have a saving, or do you have
That
this?
that is the appliance saving. I think I gave you one of those. I gave you the link for that.
Oh, okay. The
I gave
Oh, the
that to
state
you.
and local rebates.
Yes, I
Okay.
gave that to you. So those are the
Oh,
things that
bear
you
with
can
me.
check
Okay.
directly.
Um, I have never drained my water heater. Does that matter for efficiency or just for the life of the heater?
That usually for efficiency and sometimes for the life of the heater is individuals they want to do that one time per year. So if you don't have an issue with that one and you have to see an issue, but efficiency sometimes and the life of the heater, there are the two things that they're going to link in that water heater.
Okay. And last
And
question.
believe me, you are not the only one. It's a lot of individuals, they don't do that.
Okay, one last question. In the winter, would it be cheaper to use a heater to just warm your room instead of using the AC for the whole apartment?
That is when you're going to see the use of kilowatts in that specific day of days in your bill. You can see that. What is the difference of kilowatts? Because there are certain heaters that consume more kilowatts than the old unit. So you need to see the technical specification of that equipment that you're going to see, and you can personally do the evaluation. This simple small heater of all the HVAC system working, that you can do that.
And also be very careful with those standalone heaters that
There is a lot of stuff that you
fires.
need to take fire if there is close for a fabric. For example,
Yeah,
if it's a fabric close and there is circulating and a fire can start very easy, yes. There is a lot of things that we need to be very, very careful with that.
yeah.
And
Okay.
sometimes if you are in the office, for example, you are working in an office for the UF, there are certain safety guidelines that we need to know that maybe property management doesn't allow heaters in certain offices or county governments. They say, no, you cannot have that here. So we need to follow those guidelines as well.
And I believe that is all of our questions. Before we wrap up, anything else you want to add, Natalie, or?
No, thank you so much for being with us, and trying to incorporate these tips will save us I have a saving in the utility bill that we're going to see it. And please reach to extension in in the county that you are located to trying to help. Let us help you in anything that we can be able to do that. Thank you to spend this time with us today with us. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Nelly, and I hope to see you all Thursday in the second part of this webinar. Thank you, Nelly.
Thank
Have
you.
a good rest of your day, you all.